Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with a special guest, someone who wants to talk house hacking. He's on house hack number 7. So we're going to talk about it. Let's welcome Jeff to the show. How you doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Absolutely. Jeff, do us a favor and introduce yourself to the one rental at a time family. Where you at, what you're doing in this great real estate world that we play in.
Yeah, so I am a triple threat. I'm a W-2 employee, real estate investor, and realtor all in one in Denver, Colorado.
There you go. Denver, Colorado has been hot the last couple of years. A lot of people moving to Denver.
Oh yeah, it's definitely been nice the last couple of years. It's especially with house hacking, even more so because people look at it, the high cost of living area. Let me just wait. And as you shown on your channel, it's definitely not the best decision to wait for the right time.
Yeah. House hacking really is a cheat code to wealth. I don't know what we have to do to get it in. I mean, I would love it to be something we talk about in high school. I think people, if you house hacked, at 20, you could be financially free at 30. It's kind of that powerful. It takes your largest expense to less, if not zero, or in some cases, if you're doing a fourplex, get paid to live there. The other thing about your story, Jeff, is you don't do this as a single man. You do this you have a family, right? So this is not just Jeff, being like Spencer having roommates. It's more than just you, correct?
Yeah, so my now wife has been with me on this journey since 2017. And that's when it all started, basically.
Very cool. So I always like going back to the beginning. Let's talk about that first opportunity, your first house hack. What was it? What were you doing? How'd you find it? Kind of set up that first one.
Yeah, no problem. So actually it goes into 2016, right before it, leading up to it. So I was living the ultimate W-2 employee life of I had the cool condo with the spiral staircase, loft style place, and happy as can be. I had a pond where you had this little duck that would come and visit sometimes. It was a dream.
Nice.
And then right around late 2016, my now wife's sister lived in the other side of a duplex, and the owner's husband died, and she didn't want to deal with it and wanted to sell it. So my wife was like, "Hey, why don't you just buy it, and then you can rent to my sister and all that?" And I was like, "No, I want to just enjoy my condo. I'm happy. I got the cool Infinity G37."
Do you not see do you not see the
Exactly.
staircase? That's cool, man. I want one of those.
And I was like that super picky buyer when I got the condo. I looked at 50 properties before I found it. So I was that annoying one. And my mom was the realtor too at that time. So I had my mom come down from Boulder, Colorado, which is a 45-minute drive, just to show me properties. My poor mom.
Shout out,
anyways,
Mom.
Late 2016. Then I did not buy the duplex. They just sold it. But that sparked a curiosity. So I just was like, hey, let me see what's out. Like, I don't know where it just sparked this curiosity of like, I want to look into real estate investing.
Okay.
So I found this book called How to Build a Rental Property Empire by Mark Ferguson.
Oh, yeah, I know Mark. Yep.
Yeah. And which is kind of funny. He's out of Greeley, Colorado. So like just super small world. Everyone's in Colorado. And there was a section, it was literally 2 paragraphs in that book that talked about a concept called house hacking. And from that, it was like buy a 2 to 4 unit, kind of similar to Bigger Pockets, but I didn't know that existed at the time. Buy a 2 to 4 unit, live in one unit, rent out the others. Very simple.
That's a sexy concept. Yep, I gotcha.
So I told my wife, I was like, hey, let's girlfriend at the time, and like, hey, let's sell the condo, move into a multifamily. Okay. And when I told her this, explained it to her, she was actually all for it. She's like, I don't care where we live. If we live in a little shoebox, as long as I'm with you, I don't care. That's what she told me.
Nice. Okay. So you had support. That's always important.
And basically from there, we found a 4-unit. Flash forward to August 2017. We found a 4-unit, used FHA back then, and had to come up with a little bit more than the 3.5%. It was 7% down, but still a great deal, and lived in 1 unit and rented out the others. But what we learned is, at least in our market of Denver is most multis are low quality and need a lot of work.
Okay.
So I literally, coming from that condo, as you can imagine, I didn't even own a hammer. I had like no experience with contractors, no tools, nothing. So I had no
Yeah.
idea, like no connections, no experience with that. But
Mhm.
the benefits of when we first started, we had to learn everything. So we
Sure.
had to learn how to deal with contractors, how to deal with tenants. Our first week, we had to evict someone.
Mm.
We had to deal with mold issues, cockroaches, every type of repair. I didn't even know what a door jam was.
Ah,
When we bought the place, every door was like, imagine none of the doors open and close properly. I didn't know that even was a thing.
yeah.
So we had to sand down every door. It was like, what a great experience, that first one. And
Sure.
the cool thing we learned was we got basically, it's a very forgiving, real estate's a very forgiving investment, especially if you house hack. So you come in with
Sure.
low barrier of entry. And then if you make mistakes, if you necessarily maybe don't buy the perfect house hack property, you
Mhm.
could still live for free. And actually, even that year, dealing with all those issues, we still found a way to basically break even from
Nice.
overall cost. And from that knowledge,
Mhm.
that's where we pivoted our strategy. We're like, hey, multifamilies don't work in Denver, Colorado. It's just too expensive and the quality's low.
Mhm.
So what if we find a single family with the correct zoning broken up like a duplex?
Okay.
And that's where we pivoted. And the number two one was exactly that. It was a single family house, but it had a separate entrance to the basement unit.
Okay.
And we're like, let's do, and that's where we changed. Like, instead of just doing the long-term rental, normal tenant style, we said, let's combine two strategies.
Hmm.
We'll live in the basement, rent out the upstairs to a family, like a normal tenant. And then the other two rooms on our level, we'll just do rent by room style. So
Oh,
we
wow.
combined two strategies. And doing that, we went from, the first one, we broke even basically. So it still worked out. So, got my negative 1,000, or sorry, negative 1,500 for my condo
Mhm.
cost down to zero. So that,
Mhm.
or basically, and then that second one, we went from that zero to positive 1,200 per month living
Yeah.
there.
Let me just kind of make sure I understand the kind of this. This is a lot of fun. So you're living in a condo. You got the life. You get attracted to house hacking because of Mark Ferguson. You buy an older fourplex that needs a bunch of work. You sell the condo, I'm guessing, or do you still have it?
I sold it because they would have charged me $250 a month if I would have rented it.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
you sell that, you get some cash, I'm guessing,
Yeah.
right? That then moves into the fourplex, the 7% down. You live there basically for free. So when you talk about negative 1,500, that was your mortgage payment in the condo, I'm guessing.
Yep. Because I wasn't renting that. Yep.
Right. Right. So you go from, because this house hacking is all about taking your largest expense, which is for most people living expenses, to zero and then ultimately positive. So you go from negative 1,500 in a condo balling out to breaking even, living in an old fourplex, to to realizing you don't want older fourplexes. You want a newer house with a basement, you called it,
Yeah.
basically 2 floors or whatever it is. And then you not only rent out the upper unit to a family, that's kind of long-term lease, but then you do roommates in your unit. Is that also long-term
Exactly.
lease or is that like Airbnb stuff?
No, so we our rent by room style, we do 3 to 6 month leases to
Okay.
start to
So not
minimize.
dailies or something.
No. We don't do the 12 month one to start until we know they're a good fit. And then we're like, okay, we'll give you a 12-month lease after we
Makes
know.
sense.
So
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So you're in. So now you've got. So did you sell the fourplex or did you keep it?
we kept it. We
Okay.
moved
So you
out.
still have it. Okay.
Yeah. And that actually, I take that back. So we kept it and then eventually recycled the capital
There you
years
go.
later. And then we got rid of and that was our worst asset years
You
later,
up. You
surprisingly.
upgraded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now you're in this unit. It's now what year? What year is it?
So
This
now,
third
so
one.
that was 2017. Our journey started at
Okay.
the fourplex.
Mhm.
2018 was number two, the house
Okay.
with basement apartment.
Okay.
And then that's where we figured out like, hey, this is our niche. This is exactly what we're good at. We don't mind living with roommates. We don't mind living in the basement. So let's find the same exact thing for number 3.
Yeah.
So
Do it
we
again,
found
right? Just rinse and repeat. All right.
2019. So we found an even bigger house, a 7-bed, 3-bath,
Wow.
4-bed, 2-bath up, 3-bed, 1-bath down. And that's where I got introduced to Section 8. So we had a Section 8 tenant on the bottom unit, and then 4-bed, 2-bath upstairs. And we did the same strategy, but instead of living in the basement, we moved upstairs.
Upstairs. Makes sense. Okay.
And that one was an even better deal than the second one. We went from that $1,200 to $1,500 a month.
And then the 1,200 you rented out. Now that's $2,000 or whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
All right. So, and you get into that with just a normal FHA loan, or what are we putting down?
Conventional, 5%, because
5%.
it's a single family house. Technically, that's where we found, again, it's like, if we would have used FHA, you could only have one at a time. So we'd have to add enough value or refi. And we just knew like, this is our niche, and that the single family with mother-in-law or basement apartments, especially in Denver, Colorado, there's a lot more.
So how far and wide did you have to search? I mean, are all these within a mile of each other? Are they 10 miles apart?
They're like within 5 to 10 miles of each other.
And then how do you find them? Is it just is it a basic search in the MLS? Is it a checkbox? You have agents looking for you?
So we basically had searches set up where it's like house with ADU, house with mother-in-law, house with basement apartment.
They always name them different, right?
Yeah. So basically being very picky with our searches. So we're not like looking at all the inventory of single family houses. That would take forever.
You got to get that. You have to have a buy box, right? You just got to get to a small criteria. So you're looking where you want to be, which is very, very powerful. So are you still not married at this time, or do we get married by the time we get here?
We're still not married, if you can believe it.
Okay. All right. So
she's the most wonderful wife I could ask for, because she's been with me living with roommates, living in basements with spiders, and like dealing with tenant issues, noise and land. Like she's my secret weapon, I call her, just because she does so much for me and makes it. She's like the perfect balance to deal with. Basically, when you have, I'm more of the like, I don't want to confront them if like they're making noise, right? And she'll go up there like, hey, you go
keep it down.
Go do it right now. Don't wait till tomorrow to deal with it. She's very direct in that sense. So she's a good balance for me.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So we're into 2019. Where do we go from here?
So then, so you can see that we had this strategy of house with mother-in-law, and we just kept on repeating it. So we went from that second one in 2018 to the third one in 2019, then 2020, COVID hits, we're like, you know what, let's keep on going, because this will still work.
Keep it on.
Yeah. And we knew during COVID, this is what number 4 was even better than number 2 and 3. So we went up to like 2,000, but we found it even bigger. We found a 10-bedroom.
So they build them big in Denver.
Yeah, it was definitely. And what was cool was the way we approached it too. We're like, hey, rent by room. During COVID, all our rent by room tenants, we collected 99% of the rents, because it's only $800 a month over here, and that's a lot easier. Even when they lost their jobs, it's a great buffer for like a bad economy or recession, because it's not super hard to come up with that relative to like $3,000 a month for normal rents. So we're in 2020. So we did number 4, and then number 5, we kind of pivoted. We did the house, 2 houses on one lot, or house with like a detached.
Yeah, detached.
So we finally have privacy at this point. In number 5 in 2021 here.
Nice.
And that was cool. So we had the front house that was a 4-bed, 2-bath, and back house was the little 1-1 tiny house. Yep. And we rented out that. We had a crazy. This is 2021. We had a 2.75 rate on that thing. So we basically, while living in that little tiny house, the front house covered the whole mortgage. So it wasn't as good as 2, 3, 4.
But now you have privacy, so that's all kinds of better.
Exactly. Oh, and during all this, Mike, you'll like this. So she's still not my wife, but she was paying me rent to help my
Oh,
debt to
stop
income
it.
ratio.
Stop it. Just stop it. That's amazing. Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
because
it.
she
I
wanted
get
to
it.
help my debt to income ratio. So,
Oh, what
so
a trooper. What a
yeah,
trooper.
she's the
Okay.
ultimate.
All right.
So number 6 is the one we're in now. It's just a large house, and we're just doing rent by room because it's
Okay.
it's like probably our nicest house, but it works out great. It's not as easy to make it as totally separate, but
Sure.
we locked it in right before rates went up. We got a 4% rate in April of this year.
Not bad.
Um, and we just got married in September.
Oh,
Thank you.
congratulations. So
Thank you.
again, that's pretty amazing. So you've been doing this together. You've had your own structure for a little bit, that little 1-1. You're
Yeah.
now having roommates again.
Yeah.
Um, kids could be on the way maybe sometime in the future. Do you see doing roommates, or do you see being two houses on one lot kind of thing again?
Yeah, I think going forward, our dream would be either the 2 houses, 1 lot. There's just not a lot of them here, probably only like 100 all of Denver Metro.
Okay.
Or finding like a house with a mother-in-law walkout
Right.
basement style, and we
Right.
live in the top, rent out that one. So that's why I think long term will potentially. So we're going to number 7.
Yeah.
We're waiting for your trick, Mike, the November to December timeframe, the Thanksgiving
Yeah.
to New Year's. So we're waiting for the good deal, great deal,
There you go.
to find something for number 7. And yeah, and we just got married, so we had a change of life circumstance, so
Yep.
we don't have to wait the 1 year.
There you
So
go. Nice.
yeah.
So, so when I say house hacking is the cheat code to wealth, do you agree with it? And what does it mean to you when you hear me say that?
Oh, absolutely. Like it's basically I would say that first one, even though it was our worst deal from the numbers, was the best thing that ever happened to me or us, because it took us from that negative 1,500 down to 0. So basically that 1,500 bucks I was paying to live in that my cool condo with the pond and the duck,
In the duck.
uh it was absolutely worth it, because I went paying.
Yeah.
I'm still a W-2 employee, and as a W-2 employee, you just don't have all this time in the world to deal with fixing things and being like quitting your job and becoming a fix and flipper. And it amazingly changed our lives for the better, because during that time, from that negative 1,500 to 0, all that money we saved, by not paying that mortgage for that condo, I was able to save for number 2.
Right.
And then it just, as Dion says, the income snowball
Yep.
basically started rolling right on that number 2, well, for 1 to 2. And then it allowed us to save even faster and quicker. And we were able to upgrade each deal each time, not because my W-2 salary went up like that. It pretty much went like this, like more flat. It was because of that huge income snowball. And actually at this point, all the rental income from all of them almost equal my W-2 salary, which is pretty crazy for
Isn't
the
that
market.
awesome?
Like, yeah, which is all we had to do is move every year. That's
Oh,
the catch.
darn. So, like, how far are they all apart now that your entire portfolio? Is it a 10-minute drive, 15-minute drive?
Yeah, so I would say they're all within. One's about 20 minutes away, but the other ones are all 10 minutes of each other.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. A lot of people getting started with house hacking. They're in relationships. One party wants to do it more than the other. Obviously, you're in a very unique situation where your significant other was all on board day one. But talk about that conversation, right? Painting that vision, going from balling out in a condo with a spiral staircase and a duct to living in a fourplex with tenants. I mean, for many people, that's stepping backwards.
Yeah, yeah. But
Right?
I guess we approached it was, what do we want long term, right? So we were both happy in that condo. I mean, I got my spiral staircase. I was super happy. But that was just the short term happiness. We wanted financial freedom eventually. And we knew that being the Mr. Money Mustache style of saving every last dollar and
Yeah.
living like a college student for the rest of your life for like
That's
10
not living.
years
That's not
it's
living.
not a good way to live. And what's our biggest expense was housing. So we figured out, like, why don't we try this out? We'll just try it for a few years and see how it goes. And if we don't like it, our worst case is just, well, just go back to a
Yeah,
condo
sell
again.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
sell it, buy a condo, right?
But
I
we
like it.
found out like we loved it. It was fun. And actually we approached it differently, like the mindset of like, hey, we're trying a new area, new house, new opportunity, new tenants. And I actually own a toolbox now. I have drills. I have more than I actually have a hammer now, Mike.
You might actually have two hammers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. So where do you go with this? I mean, you're now matching your W-2 income, which is a great feeling. Have you kind of pointed out in the future, said, honey, when we get to this number, we might quit or retire or whatever you want to call that?
Yeah. So right before when I bought the 6 house hack, the 2 houses on one lot, I got my real estate license. So in doing so, I found like, hey, I'm pretty good at this. Like I know what to look for. It's like a unique skill set to find these types of houses because most realtors don't understand that.
Yeah,
And doing so,
run from it. Yeah.
yeah, it's been like the perfect side job to supplement my W-2. And I'm almost doing as well as the side hustle as my W-2 because as you can imagine, the commissions in Denver are super high here. I don't have to close like 100. I only have to close a few transactions to almost equal my W-2 salary, which is crazy for how much effort. But anyways, to answer your question, was we at this point we're like, I'm turning 40 next August. And her goal for both of us is like, hey, when you hit that, why not look to quit your W-2 and just become a realtor investor full time before your 40th birthday, and then take 3 months off, go to Portugal, decompress, have fun, and then go back at it when you get back here and become a full-time realtor / investor.
I think that's a great idea. Are you on board with that?
Yeah, I guess as you can imagine, I'm like you, Mike. I like the routine. I like the W-2. I guess I've been working since I was 16 years old, and W-2 since I graduated college in 2006. So it's kind of hard for me just to quit and like, what am I going to do? So that's where the realtor thing could be like a good fit. And I like doing it too. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, so you're in Denver and you have a special niche. There's a lot of people that watch my channel in Denver. If they wanted to reach out to you and look at some house hacking because maybe they can't find them, how would they reach out? Email, phone number? What do you want to do?
Yeah, you could do both email and phone number. So my email is the number 825fire@gmail.com. And then my phone number is 720-951-6868.
Awesome. So kind of bring us home. What would you want to tell Jeff 10 years ago, right? If you had the opportunity to talk to younger Jeff or people looking at this, and they hear, they read the little paragraph in Mark Ferguson's book, what do you want to tell them?
Yeah, just real estate is a fantastic long-term investment if you eliminate or reduce your housing, because I know in high cost of living markets like Denver, you won't necessarily bring it to zero, but if you take your rent payment of, let's say, $2,000 a month in a nice 1-bedroom apartment and take that down to $300, and now you're saving that's a great starting point to your rest of your career. And not only that, it doesn't take that long. Like if you devote the next 5 to 10 years of your life, which goes by like that, you'll be thanking your future self that you did it. And if anything, you'll be like that guy who had Cody at 22 saying he should have started at like 12 years old,
That's crazy, man. Crazy. Yeah.
So yeah, you can always look back and say, I should have started sooner. No one in real estate ever says, oh, I wish I started later. Right. It's always sooner. And your future self will be thanking your past self that you took those steps. And it doesn't require you to devote the rest of your life. Like you could literally just do a few house hacks and then say, you know what, I'm just going to do investment properties and we'll make this our home base. It doesn't, to change your life, it only takes a few, and you don't have to do it forever. Like I just do it. We're going to number 7. I blame my lender. He told me the record's 8. So
you got to go 9. I mean,
exactly.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah. So again, I think that's absolutely right. I mean, I can't tell you how many people, Jeff, talked to me that house hacking was the best choice. And house hacking doesn't have to mean roommates. It can mean units. It can mean up and bottom. I mean, figure it out in your area, folks. It is amazing. You don't have to do it very often. 2 or 3 of these can change your life, whether you get to 7 or not, or you set the record at 9. It'll just fundamentally change your life and provide a lot of opportunity. So one more time, Jeff, if somebody is in Denver and wants to look at these, what is the phone number?
Yeah, 720-951-6868.
Awesome. Congratulations on your success to date, marriage, retirement, all that great stuff. Take care of yourself.
Thanks so much, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yep.